I'm at my second stop of a three-stop series on the perfect thrifting day in the western suburbs of Minneapolis. I had something in my hand at the last store. It was a vintage baby blanket in its packaging, never used. The line was 25 deep. So I put that back. I posted that video first. So now we're at our second stop of the perfect day. We're at Unique Thrift in New Hope, Minnesota. Let's go see what we can find. So walking into Unique Thrift Store, which is an offshoot of Savers. This one is located in New Hope, and I've had mixed luck here. I think they have an enormous, wonderful selection, and it has been hit or miss for me. Sometimes the prices are just so ridiculously high that I get turned off pretty quickly from shopping here. I'm just not certain, and I have this problem with, who is their target audience? Who can afford to buy things, whether you're just a collector or a reseller, who can afford to buy at the prices when they're just exorbitantly high. I have a question. Where do these items go after they leave this thrift store, Savers or Unique? The Goodwill goes to the Goodwill outlet, or the bins, they call it. What happens to the donations at this store? I'm curious. I've never heard anyone mention it. What happens to them after how long are they here? So if you know the answer to that, would you leave a comment down below? I'm sure other viewers would like to know the same thing. In my last series, in the last video, I found another house like this that looked like Heather Goldmink. I've talked about her styles and her candle holders before. They can do quite well. I couldn't find a label or a mark on the one in the last store or this one, so I'm not sure what that was. Probably not her brand. The store today was, it had some nice items. The prices didn't seem exorbitant to me, and they just do really well with their hard goods. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, I'm a hard goods seller through and through. I do sell clothing. I just find that it's more interesting. I have a little more passion for finding vintage items to resell. What I do love are these bags on the wall. I don't know if you ever watch, you should watch Thrift to Travel. She goes into estate sales, and I think she must go into Savers in I'm not sure where she lives, but she will find discontinued health and beauty, flip it for a ton of money. Her channel is Thrift to Travel. I watch her on Instagram and on YouTube. She's really informative. That would be one of my dream areas if I were to scale down and just resell out of a smaller home if we ever choose to move. I've talked about I'd love to sell belts, books, silk scarves, and health and beauty. When I was moving my mom out of her townhome during COVID, she was diagnosed with dementia, and we had to move her. She had an entire box of discontinued Estee Lauder, like a big box. I made over $1,000 on just that box of makeup of hers. If you like a certain color and you can't find it anymore, health and beauty, my concern is if it's expired and there's some problem with the formulation. And I don't know since COVID if it's been cracked down on. I don't find it. I don't have access to it. I didn't see really much of any type of makeup when I was here. So if you know the answer to that, if eBay, I think Mercari was pretty open with that. I don't sell on Mercari anymore. It just got to be kind of too much work for me to keep up with them. Loved this frame. I would have picked this up. When you see those enameled, jeweled, especially if frames have their maker's mark on them, those can go for some good money. I left that one behind. One of the things I'm hunting for is, now that I'm a grandma, I got rid of all my frames a long time ago with everything going digital, but now I get pictures all the time. So I'm looking for some cute frames for personal use. So if you know about the makeup and expiration dates, I feel like you need to add that, and I feel like you can get into a decent amount of trouble if you sell expired items on eBay anymore. I don't know the rules on Poshmark. I believe a lot of it sold on Mercari back in the day, is where I made all of that money, but that's a great neat niche. I should ask Thrift to Travel what the rules are on that. So I'm going to set this to music. I think you'll enjoy shopping around with me here. I did end up finding a couple of things, but as it turned out, I'm going to keep them. I'm going to use the things I found on my desk, and we'll talk about that when we get there. So I'm going to set this video to music, and I will check back in and chat with you about some of the things that I thought about when I was thrifting today. Okay, I need to pop in here and ask the question, what is this? Is that a fairy lamp or part of a fairy lamp? I see resellers talking about that. I don't quite know what that is. Does that have a bottom to it? Does a candle go in it? What is that? Would you let me know in the comments? I would love to learn. I think that's supposed to be two pieces, so I left that behind. I never pass on a chance to look up a Starbucks city mug. You can see how much some of them go for. It's amazing. So always take a peek and do a Google image search of any Starbucks city or coffee mugs. Well, this is the city series, but those coffee mugs, they can do really well. I've talked about rolling pins before, but it's amazing to me how much some rolling pins go for. It sometimes you think on eBay, what can't you sell? Like throughout the years, I have really sold some very, very interesting things. I talked about in one of my videos the Pioneer Woman rolling pin, which sells at Walmart. That's a really good bolo, Bolo. Be on the lookout for. It was awfully pretty. Again, I'm not sure. Is that a wine bottle holder? I think I part of why I like hard goods as well is just you're never quite sure what you're going to find and what the uses are for them. I kind of am intrigued by that. But eBay, I think one of the most fun times that I had selling on eBay was during COVID because we were forced to stay home. That was not fun. Much of COVID was not fun. But what it forced us to do is go through so many of the things that we had stored away and from our family members, from mostly my husband's parents, my mother, had a lot of vintage things in our home, and we sold so many unique, weird things that I got hooked. And the inventory was just simply in our home, and I am very thankful for that. I didn't think at the time storing it was all a great idea, but we had so much inventory and we were forced to stay home. So, one of my most favorite times for reselling was during COVID because I sure learned a lot about hard goods and how interesting, how fascinating eBay can be. Don't ever pass up a chance to check out the men's vintage suspenders. Trafalgar is a king. I have sold a lot of those. My husband had, he used to wear suspenders all the time. Silk, use the leather ended, not the clip kind. Use the word braces. Vintage suspenders. I've done really, really well with those, and those are kind of hidden in plain sight. So we're at the end, and this is what I ended up picking up, but not to resell. Isn't this adorable? I put this in our bathroom. Inside the jar, I put Q-tips and cotton balls, and on the tray, I put my soap dispenser. And I also found the cutest little covered dish. My office is pinks and reds and whites. My paper clips were everywhere, and I decided to treat myself to a new piece for my desk. It ended up being such a great day, and for a change, I ended up keeping what I bought just for me.